millennial generation, knowledge is power. That's as far as it goes. Knowledge, expertise, that's what carries the weight with the millennial group. They understand that going to college, having education, having knowledge is a very powerful and important tool. And it's something that as managers that we can leverage. And lastly, they've been raised in a technological environment. We talk about that, we joke about that, but that is true and that impacts everything about them. We talk about instant gratification, we talk about communication, and this idea of we all have our cell phones, we all have our devices, this has been part of their lives forever, particularly those that are 27 and younger. For the Xers, for the folks like myself, like Joe, we know the sound of the AOL dial-up modem, right? We know what it takes to download one picture for 25 minutes. We know when somebody calls the house, we get disconnected from the internet, right? We remember those things. And so our form of communication, what's important to us, is different to these individuals because they have had this instant communication, they've had this instantaneous contact. So we need to keep this in mind. When you think about the millennials and you think about their biggest fear, and I'm going to put Jess on the spot now, when you talk about the millennials and their biggest fear, what is it? Fear of what?
Fear of letting down their teammates.
Fear of letting down their teammates, right? Fear of letting down their teammates and not being reliable and not being part of that group. You think about this, and it comes from this idea of the support network. The things that they've had access to, the network, the things that have impacted around them, they have formed tighter social bonds, that network, than any generation before. And because of that, they want to be viewed as reliable and dependable. Now, we talk about this, and we talk about this generation, the millennial generation, and as the Xers, like a lot of times we poo-poo them. As the boomers, we poo-poo the millennials. But we have to think about the generation that came before these folks. When the Xers were coming through, and we were growing up, what do you think people said about us? What do you think they said about the Xers? We were latchkey kids, right? We were independent. We were autonomous. We didn't listen to our authority. We had our own ideas. We didn't do the status quo. We were lone wolves. And guess what? That wasn't the way it was done. There was a survey done in 1969 about kind of the counterculture and what was happening in the late 60s, early 70s. And the survey went around, and 8 out of 10 Americans said that America was screwed. They said that this new generation coming through was going to ruin America, it was going to ruin our economy, and that we were done for. Guess what? We're here. We're doing okay. The generation before that, the exact same thing. George Orwell said it best, and he said that every generation thinks that they're smarter than the generation before them, and that they're wiser than the generation that comes next. This is what happens. Anytime there's a cultural shift, right, we make assessments and we judge that next generation based off our generation, the qualities of our generation. But we can't because they're different.